So, hi guys, thank you for joining me on this video. So just a short video. One of the questions, or a number of people have raised the issue around trust in relationships, and that is or one of the most important factors to having trust in a relationship. And one or two people have asked me how you actually build trust in a relationship, how that actually works. So just kind of want to talk about how to build trust into a relationship, and also the link with trust and betrayal. A lot of people think that trust and betrayal are very closely linked, but we're just going to touch on that. So I have left a link on the video live that if you want to contact me, or you have relationship problems or problems of anxiety, then you can contact me through that link. Short questionnaire, and you can book an appointment for me to discuss your needs. So, how do you build trust? Well, there's a lot of really good research done over the last kind of 30 years, really, which is, done over 30 years is substantial. And the results from that are very meaningful and very empirical and difficult to challenge. And this research has measured how trust is created specifically in a relationship. So intimate relationships, relationships with your family, relationships with your friend. And what researchers have discovered in researching trust is that it helps to understand the dynamics of betrayal and how betrayal can begin in a relationship. So it's something that could, if you're aware of it, you see these elements creeping into your relationship, then it's something that you need to check because of the obvious consequences of betrayal in a relationship. And when we meet people, we have to invest some sort of level in trust. So you meet somebody and perhaps agree to go on a date, or you agree to do something together. You have to have a level of trust to do that, because if there was no trust, then you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't feel safe, and so you wouldn't engage in certain activities. But really deep trust is built in very small micro moments which accumulate over time. And they cause a person to be able to trust another individual in a deep, meaningful way. Which is why when trust is lost and trust is broken, it takes a lot of getting back, because it takes a lot more of those micro moments to regain what has been lost. So when we have any interaction with a partner, or a close friend, or perhaps children, there's a possibility of two things: that you can make a connection, or you can turn away. And so, as an example of this, perhaps the guy's watching rugby, really great game, excited about the game, and it gets to half time, and he thinks, oh well, I'll pop into the kitchen and grab a drink. And as he goes into the kitchen, maybe his wife sat there, she's perhaps scrolling through a phone or an iPad, and she looks very, very sad. Now, at that point, the guy has a choice. He can get his drink and creep out of the kitchen and ignore the situation to go and watch the rugby, or he can choose to engage in that relationship and go over and put his arm around her and say, hey, you look really sad. Tell me what's wrong, I'm here for you. Those are choices. And they're what John Gottman describes as sliding door choices. You make a choice, from the film Sliding Doors, you make a choice to do something that there's a consequence to the future. So in the act of going over to your partner instead of creeping off to watch the rugby, in that act you're building trust. This is one of those micro moments that builds trust. And research shows that these acts build trust into any relationship. Now, one such event isn't so important, but if you're always choosing to think about yourself and your own needs, and you turn away instead of choosing to engage, then what happens is the trust, it corrodes, it deteriorates, it erodes, and it disappears from the relationship. So for relationships to have a level of trust that are healthy, and those a good amount of trust that keeps a relationship strong, then there's certain things that you need to have, which I won't go into now, but you certainly need to have awareness. You need to have an awareness that your partner is sad. You need to have that awareness that they need that time with you. And then you have to have the awareness to make that decision to turn towards it. You have to be very tolerant. If you're not tolerant, then obviously you're going to get fed up very quickly. Obviously, you have to have levels of understanding of people that you're in relationships with. A big factor is that you have to be non-defensive. You're non-defensive. So if a partner says to you, oh, I feel this way and this way, that you don't say, well, yeah, I feel this way too. It's not about that. It's about engaging in the moment to be there for somebody that you should genuinely care about and be genuinely concerned for. And obviously that has to have empathy as well. So if you can get those 6 factors together in your mind, then you'll incorporate those and you'll begin to build trust in the relationship. But interestingly, this research showed that betrayal and trust are not related to each other very strongly. And betrayal is not the same as distrust. We tend to think about distrust and betrayal as being related, but the motivation for betrayal is not just that turning away, not just that failing to engage with your partner, with your partner's needs, as you would do if you were, as we said from our example. You could have turned away and thought, well, sod it, I'm going to watch the rugby, and ignored the fact that your partner, your friend, was sad. It's not just that turning away from the sadness of the situation, but it's the thinking, oh, not again, or oh, I'm sick of this. Those thoughts are the underlying thoughts with that turning away that create a subconscious or an underlying thought of, I can do better. Who needs this crap? I'm always putting up with their negativity. I can do better. And those are the thoughts that come that align to the turning away and those negative thoughts that you create. And once you start to have those thoughts that you can do better, then you begin like a cascade of not committing to the relationship. And you start to tear your partner down instead of building them up. And you build resentment rather than gratitude. And then this means that you have a lot less dependency within the relationship. You feel that you don't need to be dependent for getting your needs met within the relationship. You lower your investment in the relationship, and you escalate conflict so that the relationship becomes a spiral down. So building trust is one of the key factors that you develop and learn to do, either naturally or unnaturally. But without that trust, you will create problems for your relationship, and things will inevitably end up in a bad way. So I hope that's useful for you. I hope it's given you something to think about in your relationship and in the relationships that you may want in the future, relationships with your children, family, friends, etc. These are very, very important factors to building healthy relationships. So if you've got problems in your relationship, if you want some help with that, then you can click on the link on this live, click on my banner on Facebook. I'm always available to answer questions if you want to post those, private message me. I do get quite a few messages, which is really great. I love to answer messages. I like to be involved to try and guide people to making the right decisions for their lives. So thank you very much for watching. It's always great to produce these videos. I do enjoy doing them, but more than that, I just hope you can get something out of it that you can make your life and relationship better in some way. So I'll speak to you again soon. Thanks for this.